This is a bone, man. Alright, now, envision that you are the truth detector. Can you glimmer from this bone? You thought this was a bone of contention. Alright? Baby shoes for sale, never worn. It's a big ass bone. You can tell by I hope it's just nicotine tar and it does not actually, but it has to be a little bit of heroin, just a vapor residue and crack residue on this bone based on where it was, but it's mostly just tobacco tar. This is an old bone. What year was it? Oh, I think it's 2007. Yes, I was heading to my sophomore year at Trinity. No, I was in between. It was like a winter break. And my dog Snickers, my childhood dog, it was supposed to be for my sister. Counselors got it for my sister because it's a little heavy. In hindsight, my parents were, dope fiends. They were dope fiends, and my sister and I were perpetually traumatized. We'd been molested, And again, fuck DCF, that's a prison, but if we were a black family, they would have been in there lickety goddamn split. I tell you what, we were left in very unsafe environments, and everyone in the town knew, but they were all complicit looking the other way, and they tried to do little band-aid solutions that did nothing but make it worse ultimately. So we were gonna get my little dog for my sister. She was just starting to get into hard drugs. She was fucking not showing up to school. She was just about to have a kid in a couple of years. So they get her this dog. I vividly remember. Just laughing so hard based on seeing the dog pant. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It wasn't even the dog's panting as we project. It's not even that joyful, happy. It's probably fucking so hot because we were living in a fucking opium den. But yeah, long story short, I'm heading back. My Claire Snickers was gonna die. Moffats never went to and see the doctors, and so that meant sadly that at least as far as my father went, the pets weren't going to the vet. So Snickers lived a hearty life, I think I got him, I remember when I was 5 maybe, so he'd been, it was like 14 or 15 I think, which was dog years was good, based on this scrappy conditions, He was dying, so my dad gets this big bone, thinking, oh, Snickers will be for Snickers. But of course, the dog can barely fucking walk. He's not gonna chew that bone, so that's why that bone, nothing happened to it. This was like the day, and all in my head, I'm like, just get me back to Trinity. I can't be here for this. I can't be here for this. I don't want to watch this. All my life, I looked the other way. I hear it, I know what was coming, but I'm plausible deniability. But no. The day before, it's clear the dog's dying. My father's in denial. Fucking holding the dog, pisses all over him. My dad's a mess, and I don't realize why I'm holding him. My dad's a mess. This is a rupture bigger than any hole in the TV or bigger than any hole in his arm. No matter how bad it got. This is an amputation of phantom pain. The dog's dying, but I'm just like, hey, Dad, no. He's desperate. Just no, just shh, calm. We're not gonna have his last moments be crazy and us fucking trying to shake him and beat him, which I think we were kind of doing a little bit. It's like, no, we're gonna just hold him. My dad was there, he was behind me. He couldn't do it, he couldn't handle it. I needed to be strong. I'm 19. I needed to become the old man, grow up real quick. So I'm holding Snickers in my arms. My first and sometimes only friend. And I don't know, again, it might just be projection, but this isn't like the daisy eyes, this isn't like that green light. I saw this love. Real love. Fade. And his eyes they became this shade of gray, and it's quick, just flash of gray, and then it was like something melted. And I felt his heartbeat stop. And slowly the blood finally pulsating down his veins. I felt that. I felt it. Okay, this was before the acid. I could feel it. Nothing I've seen No amount of evil, no amount of anything has chilled me to the bone like that. Just outside there, we buried him very poorly, so I'm sure if I went over there, I would probably find some. I'd probably find some bone scraps, but I don't want to go over there and see that boneyard. I don't. I don't want that last moment I had with my best friends to be the way it was. I did get many perfect ones with any really of my lost friends or lovers, but I did with Snickers. So I don't give a fuck about the hall. Hollowed halls and ivory towers, part 5. Misery is the river, sticks and stones. If it had just been that, the students attacked Kenny, and even, some of the things that happened afterwards, like a campus safety officer who saw the 4-door black coupe pull into Vernon. Again, Vernon is more or less one way, pull into the Hamlin parking lot where, Sayu was, and kids got out there, and this guy gets fired. Even with, and again, you don't have to just, if you don't take my word for it, go and look up the early reports, do what I did initially, and just follow the easily traceable breadcrumbs, and think a little bit. So this woman had seen it, and then the initial reports were that preppy looking white people had done it. A lady. A good innocent, a good bystander who was there late. Beeped a horn at them. Probably saved Chris Kenny's life. Yeah, saved Chris Kenny's life. I remember I was in one of my senior seminars. It was about Western films. It was the second class I took at Trinity about Western films. So there's this kid there. He's a Pike brother. I had known him before, before the fall, for a little bit. I had a class with him, acting. I stared him down in acting, let me tell you. So there we are, a couple years later, and he's there, just talking nonsense, man. For some reason, we're talking about the Chris Kenny thing, and then the woman comes up, and this guy says, and I quote, "Oh, she was just protecting her people." Pardon me? Like, oh, well, no, it was black and brown people who did it. Clearly, that's what they do. So this lady is just telling the fake story. Like, that's... And I, again, I came back a couple years later, older. I had stared at the abyss. I stared at my own fucking... I seen a thing or two about a thing or a million. So I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Her people? What about your people, my dude? I live next to y'all. I know what your people do. Ooh, we ran away scared. No, we wasn't going down that. No one going down that with me, trust me. They try to get me in the back, try to do a lawsuit, or try to scare me, but trust me. Even if I don't know what I'm talking about, you come at me with words, I'll demolish fucking piece of shit when they come at me with that kind of racism. I don't care about being nice. I'll tell a man to go to hell and make him fucking dread every step of the trip. They come with that kind of ignorance today? So it's easy enough to see what really happened. But then when you know what I know, when you knew that Jim Jones was so upset by it, so upset by his southern sensibility, and trust me, Jim Jones was a racist motherfucker who sent the email talking about his mammy to talk about why he's not racist. I have that email. I'll fucking pull that shit up. So Jim Jones hired a private investigation for him. I won't name them now because, I can't remember everything, but I know who they are, and they were out of Philly. So they collaborated with Hartford Police initially to do the investigation because, and again, listen to Colin McEnroe's show about this. And this is why I say fuck Colin McEnroe today, because he was onto it, okay? And he knew. But he let the threads go because, same reason why he didn't do shit about Real Artways when the Real Artways fucking John Morrison shit came up, because I would see him there, smoozing. These motherfuckers, even if they know better, even if they're, smart enough, smarter than me even, to see what's going on. At the end of the day, if they're getting paid to say things, they won't say things. Because people pay them not to. Or they'll lose. It's all fucking hall of smoke and mirrors, alright? Not the good kind. So it's clear. I have to talk about Snickers. It's clear what happened. And if that was just what had happened, and, again, everyone's guilty, so they were like, hey, they trust me. The school was going to take care of them. They took care of me when they took care of them. But they couldn't, because people, again, everyone was guilty. A lot of people were complicit. shit, man. I gotta talk about Chris Lyons in the epilogue. But there's, the plot was so thick. So Jones, and they try to unravel it. So I decide when I figure out what this company was, and again, I met Pedro Carrillo. Oh, spoiler alert. So I emailed this private investigating firm with a big long thing, and they respond back to me, oh yeah, we covered a case, but we can't. Saying, I know, I'm not just a bone collector. And if it had just been that, whatever. Shit happens. Who's afraid of Virginia Woolf? But it wasn't just that. Because the Kenny family, who cared a lot about their name and the name of their little fucking son. So I'm going to talk in the epilogue about when I met him the only time I saw him face to face. And they had like a $10,000 reward out there for information. Trust me, it was a big everyone. Fucking everyone. They were just, oh, this fits our narrative. Yeah. They knew what it was. Just the lie, the family. Blue fucking blood, thicker than fucking baptismal water, I tell you that much. So, it didn't just stay at that, though, because there had been, it sounds, if you don't understand the fever dream logic of the streets, this stuff seems kind of silly, but, so Pedro Carrillo had been, I guess, arrested for something unrelated. Again, it's the streets. Okay. Who knows? When you're born into certain streets, you gotta abide by certain laws, or that's just, you're not gonna live. Literally not gonna live. But Pedro's ex-girlfriend had gotten caught up with something, and her boyfriend got caught up with something, so she said, in her logic, oh, I'll frame him up for the Chris Kenny thing. I'll say it was him, we were there, I was there, I saw him do it, it was for me, But you have to help my boyfriend out, and maybe I can get some of that money, yeah? But then she realizes, oh, wait, I'm implicating myself in this assault. So she tries to recant. But through, I'm sure, enough intermediaries for a lot of plausible liability, the Kenny family decide to pay her. Maybe not to $10,000, maybe more. Maybe very undisclosed. To pay her, Veronica Marquez, Pedro Carrillo's ex, to stick to that lie. So Pedro, of course, is in a spot where Donna Membrano, a very shady prosecutor. You look at Donna Membrano's history, you see that she was on a short list one time to be like the head, the state Supreme Court, and she was passed over. Maybe she wasn't qualified, maybe she was passed over because she was a woman. Probably because she was a woman, So you can tell she had a chip on her shoulder because of that. And you look at some of the cases she's taken afterwards, they were high profile and a little fucking sus. So, I'm not saying she's going to set him up, but when she clearly smells something's fishy, she's going to look the other way. When you get Chris Lyons greasing these wheels because he's the fucking, more or less the head honcho for their fucking campus safety, well, you'd be surprised what can happen. And long story short, Pedro, he served a couple years for it, but I went to a court case because he got busted for maybe something else. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. Innocently proven guilty, And even if he was led on a trail of more tears, what set him on that trail? White man's lie, the way it always does. So when I first saw him, he was in a wheelchair, gotten shot on the street. I didn't know at the time, so I'm thinking, oh, this guy got fucking beat, fucking raped in a prison cell. No, he just got fucking shootout in Chinatown, China White Town. I gave him a packet with information, but he was too fucking, you could tell from the injury, his pedals, he was just fucking, wasn't there, man. So it couldn't even be about him and rescuing him, the hurricane was fucking just a fucking dry bones in the wind. But I know that he didn't do that. And that the system allowed this thing to get wrapped up so a little fucking rapist fucking frat boy named Chris Kenny could make sure he has a high. I'm sure he's making millions of dollars right now. Chris Kenny is making millions. I don't know. I haven't followed through that much. That would be too obsessive. And trust me, he's a guy with that kind of shadows of the past doesn't want to be found. But he's out there. And they know. And they always thought I would keep my fucking mouth shut. Where's the fucking cease and desist letter, Because I'm going to keep forward with this ceaselessly. To know what right and wrong is. I feel it in my bones.